I am making a prototype deck profile for, or prototype deck profile. I'm making a deck file profile for my prototype Eldlich Tombkeeper deck profile. I honestly really like how the deck's been working when in a bit of testing, but it hasn't been that many games and it's been against non-meta decks, so there's that. But overall, I like it, and one of my friends gave me an idea to make it, so I did. So start off with the monsters. Play 3 copies of the Man with the Mark. The Man with the Mark has the effect that when normal summoned or special summoned, I can never remember if it's normal and or just because sometimes it's normal. But it has the effect that when it's normal or special summoned, you can add a Temple of the Kings or a spell trap that mentions Temple of the Kings from your deck to your hand. Then while Temple of the Kings is in play and this card's in play, both itself and Apophis cards you control cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect, and your Temple of the Kings cannot be destroyed by card effect. One thing I did find out with Tombkeeper is that Merlantian, as my brother likes to call it, has a natural advantage over Tombkeeper because they just target and banish or just return to hand. So, non-targeting or non-destruction removal is the best thing to use against Tombkeeper, is what I found out. Next, I play 1 copy of Merciless Scorpion to Circuit. You only need to play 1 copy of it because it is recyclable off of Anubis. But while Temple of the Kings is in play, you can banish any level 10 or higher monster from your deck to then be able to special summon it. And then when it's summoned, you can add a spell from your deck to your hand that is Temple of the Kings or mentions Temple of the Kings. And its last effect is if it battles, then at the start of the damage step, you can banish the monster it was battling to have it gain half of that monster's original attack gain attack equal to that monster half of that monster's original attack. So it attacks the blue eyes, it can banish the blue eyes, and then increase its attack by 1500. And then next, I play 3 copies of Anubis the Last Judge. Anubis the Last Judge has the effect that you can discard from your hand to add the Man with the Mark from your deck to your hand. Then while this card's in your hand or graveyard, and you have 3 traps or cards that mention Temple of Kings in your graveyard, you can put 2 of them at the bottom of your deck, and if you do, you special summon this card. You can only summon Anubis the Last Judge once per turn this way. And its last effect is that if a spell trap leaves the field because of your opponent's card, then you can destroy 1 card on your opponent's side of the field. And I don't remember if that targets, honestly, because I've never used that effect. Let's see. Target 1 card your opponent controls and destroy it, and you can only use each effect of Anubis the Last Judge once per turn. And then next, I play 1 copy of Lord of the Heavenly Prison. I might bump this up to 2, mainly because I only have 2. But Lord of the Heavenly Prison has the effect that you can reveal it in your hand, so that your set spells and trap cards cannot be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects. And then during your opponent's turn, if you activate a trap card, you can special summon a card, or special summon it from your hand. If it was revealed when you special summon it, you can then set a trap card from your deck. And if you do that while Temple of the Kings is in play, then you can use that set trap that turn. And then lastly, I play 3 copies of Eldlich the Golden Lord. Eldlich the Golden Lord has the effect that you can send this card in a spell or trap from your hand to the graveyard to then target 1 card your opponent controls, or you target 1 card on the field and send it to the graveyard. And if this card's in the graveyard, you can send a spell or trap card you control to the graveyard to return it to your hand, and then you can special summon a zombie monster from your hand with an additional 1,000 attack and defense until the end of the turn. What was that 1,000? With an additional 1,000. Yeah, it gains 1,000 attack and defense, but can't be destroyed by card effects until the end of your opponent's turn. You can only use each effect of Eldlich the Golden Lord once per turn. For these spells, I play 1 copy of Defense of the Temple. Defense of the Temple has the effect that if you're using a monster that mentions Temple of the Kings as material on your field, you can then use 1 monster your opponent's side of the field for a fusion summon. As this then lets you fusion summon a fusion monster from your extra deck that uses monsters that mention Temple of the Kings. And then it has a grave effect, but no one plays that horrible Winged Dragon of Ra card, so just ignore it has a grave effect altogether. And I play one copy of Elixir of White Destiny. This just lets you special summon a zombie monster from your hand or graveyard. But if you do not control an Eldlich monster, then it has to be Eldlich the Golden Lord, which every time you use the things to summon a zombie, it's going to be Eldlich the Golden Lord, as Eldlich the Golden Lord is the only zombie monster in the deck. And I play one copy of Black Awakening. Black Awakening does the same thing as White Destiny, but instead of from hand or grave, this one summons from hand or deck. And they both share the effect that while it's in the graveyard, except for the turn it was sent there, or while it's in the graveyard, then you can set Golden Lands spell or trap from your deck, but you can only use one of those two effects per turn and only once that turn, if I remember correctly. Yep. And then I also play one copy of 7 Cities of the Golden Land and one copy of Temple of the Kings. 7 Cities of the Golden Land has the effect on your main phase. You can fusion summon a fusion monster from your extra deck using only zombie monsters from your hand and or field as material. Then if a zombie monster is special summoned by a card effect, except in the damage step, then you can target a spell trap card in a spell trap zone. That set card cannot be activated this turn, even if this card leaves the field, and you can only use each effect of 7 Cities of the Golden Land once per turn. So this is just good so that if your opponent sets a spell or trap, then you can use this to target a set spell or trap your opponent controls and just make it so that they can't use it that turn. So they either force it to set out at that time, or they have to just not let it be used. And then next, I play 3 copies of Cursed Eldland. Cursed Eldland has the effect that you cannot declare attacks except with zombie monsters. And then you can only use each of the following effects of Cursed Eldland once per turn, where you can pay 800 life points to add an Eldlich monster or a Golden Lands spell or trap from your deck to your hand. And then if this card is sent from the spell trap zone to the graveyard, then you can send an Eldlich monster or a Golden Lands spell or trap from your deck to the graveyard. Usually this is what you'll end up sending to the graveyard for Eldlich the Golden Lord's effect from grave. Next, I play 3 copies of Treasures of the Kings. Treasures of the Kings has the effect that its name becomes Temple of the Kings while it's on the field. And then, when it's activated, it lets you set a spell, an Apophis trap from your deck. And then once per turn, if you have 2 set spell or trap cards, or you have a trap card in your graveyard, you can add a card as monster from your deck to your hand that mentions Temple of the Kings. And you can only use each effect of Treasures of the Kings once per turn. For the traps, I play 1 copy of Embodiment of Apophis. This is just needed because you can search it and it can be free discard fodder. And then I play 1 copy of Verdict of Anubis. Verdict of Anubis can only be activated when your opponent activates a spell or trap card, while you have 3 or more other set spell or trap cards. Verdict of Anubis will then negate the opponent's activated spell or trap card, and then if Temple of the Kings is in play, it then destroys all monsters or all attack monsters your opponent controls, and deals damage equal to your opponent, equal to half the combined original attack of those monsters. And then next, I play 1 copy of Statue of English Pattern. Statue of English Pattern has the effect that you can activate it as an effect monster. That is a level 7 Earth Rock monster, I believe. Yep, it's a level 7 Earth Rock monster that has 0 attack and 2500 defense. This card is also still a trap card. And then, if this card is special in this way, it cannot be targeted by card effects. Or as it can't be destroyed by card effects. I can't remember which one it is. Okay, cannot be targeted by card effects while you control another trap card. Or another trap card that's a monster. And then once per turn, if a trap card is summoned to the monster zone as a monster, then you can target 1 card on your opponent's field and destroy it. And then next, I play 2 copies of Apophis the Serpent. Apophis the Serpent is usually the trap you'll set off of Treasures of the Kings. As Apophis the Serpent has the effect that when it's activated, you can set an Apophis trap from your deck other than Apophis the Serpent. And then if Apophis the Serpent leaves the field, then you can add a copy of Embodiment of Apophis from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect of Apophis the Serpent once per turn. One thing I should probably mention is that all the Apophis traps can only activate during the main phase. Next, I play 3 copies of Apophis the Swamp Deity. Apophis the Swamp Deity is probably the most broken Apophis trap that's ever existed. I say that knowing there's only been 3. But Apophis the Swamp Deity has the effect that when activated in the main phase, it'll summon itself as a monster, and then it'll let you negate face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of other trap monsters you control. Which, the fun part of Eldlich Tombkeeper is that the Eldlich traps that summon themselves as monsters count towards that. And that's it for the Tombkeeper traps. Moving on to the Eldlich traps. I play 3 copies of Elixir of Scarlet Sanguine. This will let you summon a Golden Lord from your deck or graveyard. And then, looks like the other Elixir traps, or Elixir spells, my apologies. You can banish it from your graveyard during a turn you haven't activated the previous effect, to then be able to set a Golden Lands spell or trap from your deck. Next, I play 3 copies of Walkero of the Golden Land. Walkero will summon itself as a light zombie monster with level 5 that has 1800 attack and 1500 defense. And then if you control an Eldlich the Golden Lord, you can then banish 1 card from either graveyard. Then during the end phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard if it was not activated that turn to be able to set an Elixir card from your deck. And that same grave effect is shared with the 3 copies of Conquistador of the Golden Land. Conquistador does the exact same thing as Walkero, except instead of targeting a card in either player's graveyard to banish, it targets a monster your opponent controls. Or is it a card your opponent controls? I can never remember. Maybe destroy 1 face-up card on the field. And then it'll be a level 5 zombie with 1500 attack and 1800 defense. And lastly, I play 3 copies of Elixir of the Glorious Golden Land. Elixir of the Glorious Golden Land has the effect where you can pay 800 life points and activate one of the following effects. Where you can special summon this card as a normal monster, being a level 10 light zombie with 1500 attack and 2800 defense. So it summons itself as a makeshift Eldlich the Golden Lord. And then if you control Eldlich the Golden Lord, you can turn 1 monster from the field to the hand. And then its other effect will let you set one of your banished Golden Land or Elixir spell or trap cards, and they can only use that. You can only use its effect of Elixir of the Glorious Golden Land once per turn. This effect meaning you can activate 1 of the 2. And that's it for the main deck. The main deck currently is 42 cards, though I'm thinking about adding a single copy of Heavenly Prison to the deck, which would make it a 43 card deck. Moving on to the extra deck, I play 1 copy of IP Masquerena. IP Masquerena lets you link summon during your opponent's turn using itself, and then if it's used as link material for a link monster, that summoned link monster cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Next, I play 2 copies of Silhat Rabbit. Silhat Rabbit has the effect that when it's link summoned, you can set a continuous trap that has the effect of summoning itself as a monster from your deck to your spell and trap zone. And then if a monster is summoned from your spell and trap zone to your monster zone that has a trap card, you can then target 1 monster. It's either monster or spell trap. I believe you target a spell trap your opponent controls. So yeah, you target a spell trap your opponent controls and destroy it. You can only use each effect of Silhat Rabbit once per turn. And then one other thing I forgot to mention is that when this card battles, neither monster can be destroyed by that battle. Because illusions. Next, I play 1 copy of SP Little Knight. If Little Knight is link summoned using a Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, or Link Monsters material, You can target one card on either side of the field or in the graveyard and banish that card. And then when you use that effect, you cannot attack directly that turn. And then its other effect is that when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can target, or you can banish 2 monsters on the field, one you control and one other monster on the field until the end phase of that turn. You can only use each effective SP Luminite once per turn. Next, I play 1 copy of Gaga Cowboy. This is just in here for time rules. And then I play 1 copy of Gallant Granite. Gallant Granite has the effect that when you can detach material to either add a rock monster from your deck to your hand, or you can summon a rock monster from your hand in face down defense position. But there's no reason to do that, as you'll just use this to add Lord of the Heavenly Prison from your deck to your hand. To finish off the next Ease monsters, I play 1 copy of Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Gustav Max. This is just in here since there are 6, arguably 10, level 10 monsters. 10 if you include the extra deck, I mean. But it just has the effect of once per turn you can detach material and inflict 2,000 points of damage to your opponent. Both this and Gaga Cowboy are pretty much only in this deck for time rules. For the fusion monsters, I play 3 copies of Divine Serpent Apophis. Divine Serpent Apophis has the effect that it has to either be fusion summoned or special summoned by tributing 2 Apophis monsters you control. And then once per turn, you can activate its effect to be able to target up to 3 Apophis traps in your graveyard with different names, set them to your field. And then its final effect is during your player's turn, when a trap card is activated, you can target 1 card on your opponent's side of the field and destroy it. Which, fun fact, that effect can trigger if your opponent activates a trap card. Then I play 1 copy of Divine Scorpion Beast of Circuit. Divine Scorpion Beast of Circuit has the effect that it gets 2 attacks for each battle phase as long as there's a level 10 or higher monster that is banished. When it is summoned, or when your opponent, I forget what the trigger is for this other one. If this card is special summoned or at the start of the damage step, this card battles an opponent's monster. You can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls or in their graveyard, banish it. If you do, this card gains attack equal to half that banished monster's original attack. Can we use that effect of Divine Scorpion Beast of Circuit once per turn? It can make a second attack or blah blah blah. This honestly is only ever in here for if you need to try to push for game. As when you summon this, it can easily become more than 4,000 attack points. And with 2 attacks, that makes it pretty good. Next, I play 2 copies of Fallen Angel of the Golden Land. Fallen Angel of the Golden Land has the effect that it either has to be fusion summoned or special summoned by tributing a light zombie monster while you control an Eldlich the Golden Lord that is on your field or in your graveyard. Then you can only special summon Fallen Angel Golden Land once per turn. It doesn't matter how you do it, whether you fusion summon it or you actually summon it by tributing a monster. And then lastly, for the extra deck, I play 2 copies of Eldlich the Mad Golden Lord. Eldlich the Mad Golden Lord has the effect that its name becomes Eldlich the Golden Lord while it's on the field. It cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. And then you contribute a zombie monster, and then target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. Take control of it till the end, or you take control of it, but you cannot attack directly or activate its effects that turn. And then you can only use that effect of Eldlich the Mad Golden Lord once per turn. I just like that it is a permanent steal. However, you just can't use that monster for that turn. And it just requires Eldlich the Golden Lord, or an Eldlich monster, plus a level 5 or higher zombie monster. So you can use... Oh no, you're not an Eldlich monster, never mind. I was going to say Fallen Angel Golden Land, but Fallen Angel Golden Land does not become an Eldlich monster. So this requires Eldlich, either the Golden Lord or Mad Golden Lord to make it, but that's pretty much it. If you have any ideas what you can do to improve the deck, and ideas for decks like see made in the future, or decks like see face each other, comment down below. I always read the comments, and I always try any ideas that I'm given. Thank you for watching.